Okay, welcome back to my Let's Play of Disco Elysium on the PC. We are, well, we're still trying to solve a murder, of course. Tracking down where shots might have come from, killed this man while he was mid-coitus. We found one spot where our brain said it's possible that the shot came from, but after examining the spot, it seems there's no evidence to support it. The other two are eluding me as to how to find them, and I looked it up because I said I didn't want to run around forever trying to find them, and turns out, indeed, I cannot access them yet. They are behind some further progression. I didn't really look into details or anything like that. I just saw I could access one of the spots, which I did. The other two, not yet. That's it. So. I really don't want to do much else. Oh, I reek of death. I should go take a bath. I can talk to... Oh, no. What? Oh. Yeah, I put a point into logic again. Alright. We can go talk to Titus. We can have a bath, hit the bed. Done deal. Meet back up with Kim. And day 4 is gonna be a big one, I feel. Feel it in me bones. We'll check out that church. Check out that other dead body. Eventually, maybe we'll find our gun. And our badge. That would be cool. Make me feel like a real cop. All right, Titus. Today's the day.
Again. What is it?
I got a theory. Boom. Sudden flash of lightning in your neocortex. The hostile cafeteria is lit by its eerie blaze. Floor plans, bullet trajectories, webs of human emotion all channeled into a single thought. Why are you so sure Ruby didn't off him? So that's what you were squinting at. He looks at you. You were trying to come up with a theory, weren't you? That she did it. Yeah, he was cobbling together shit so he could put her away. It's RCM 101. Well, let old Titus set your mind at ease then. She didn't do it. She was here all night. She didn't go out for fresh air, for one smoke? No. The window Clausier gave for the time of death was from 11:30 to 12:15. You mean to say she stayed put from 11:30 to 12:15 all that time? Alright, she took a fucking leak, okay? For one moment. Maybe went out too. She has an operation to run from her lorry. He points to the intersection. We're not getting into what that operation is again, cop. It's probably for the best. Don't break your stride now. And just because she was gone for 5 minutes doesn't mean she magically got to the roof and shot him. He taps on his temple. I've been through this. It's not plausible. Alright, we're in. We got Ruby unaccounted for sometime during the window. This was crucial. Now let's place her on that roof. Have you noticed the winch out back on the outer wall of the whirling? I've seen the winch. I'm not blind. He nods. You saying she reeled herself up by her collar, like some kind of... You can't come up with an analogy. Kitten? Let's go with that. Point is, it's just a rusty winch. Doesn't put her on the roof. You do agree the shot came from the roof, right? Why not? You can't draw a straight line into Clausier's window from any of the surrounding buildings. Now, from what I know about Martinez. Maybe from the coast? But like I said, I've been too busy dealing with you idiots, so no. He shakes his head. I don't think it was a sniper. It was close up. There's a 72% chance that the bullet came from the roof. 72%! Picks up his beer. There's a percentage and all. Where'd you get it from? Your guys in the lab? Analyze it on the spot. Turns out I can do that. No, you can't. I know what you did here on the weekend. People talk. And what they say doesn't sound like a science cop. You're a madman. Those numbers were an ass pull, man. Yeah, and they don't put her on the roof either. It's just some mambo jumbo. He hasn't got shit. Ruby could have gotten to the roof from somewhere inside the whirling. Nah, the only way up there is through Clausier's room. How much do you guys know about this place? We've only been drinking here for what, 6 years? He looks around. How much do we know? Been thinking of getting whirling in rags tatted on my ass, boss. There you go, tatted on his ass. We know the place. There's a locked door in the kitchen and another on the roof. Ever been through those? No, that doesn't prove anything. Just 2 doors. We're not giving you Ruby for that. She's one of us. Connected with the winch, Eugene. She could have gone up, shot him, come down in well under 5 minutes. Okay, they're connected by the winch. How though? Is there a dumbwaiter back there? This man is smarter than he looks. We can work with this. Precisely. Yeah, she could have. This is one long shot. He shakes his head, but the look in his eyes shows interest. Tell you one thing, I liked how that goddamn winch came up again. That was nifty. Have we firmly established Ruby could have had access to the roof where the man was shot? Firmly? He shakes his head. Try shit on a stick. All you've established is a possible route to the roof that you haven't found. And even then, a route doesn't put the bad bullet in the merc's head. A gun does that, and Ruby doesn't carry one. Phase 2, murder weapon. Get a gun in her hand. If not that, then at least show a shadow of a doubt in the shape of a gun. Just don't contradict yourself. If it doesn't sound like Ruby did it, maybe keep it to yourself. The local pawn shop sold my lost gun to a woman. Maybe it was her. You lost your gun? The blonde man is taken aback, not even laughing. What an idiot! Big man leans closer. Tell me, did you lose it before the murder? Yes. No, you didn't. And Ruby didn't use your lost gun to kill him. Stop thinking about your lost gun, damn it. You'll get a heart attack. I've already established Ruby's running drugs. She could have smuggled guns, too. God damn, that's just about your favorite topic, isn't it? Titus slaps his thigh. Every fucking 5 seconds. You were warned not to bring it up. Your best shot here is just back off it. Fine, Titus. I'm not getting into it. If it touches on your precious business. Okay, cop. She's got connections. He shakes his head slowly. I can see how she could have access to a gun. That still doesn't mean she did. That's all you needed. Doubt. I didn't say I'd prove she had the murder weapon. Just that we need to find her. I don't know, cop. Why don't you find your lost gun first? Tattooed man bursts out laughing at his own joke. Easy now, Al. This isn't comedy hour. Titus, we're not seriously considering it, are we? He almost gets up from his seat. Ruby wouldn't do this. Why would she do something like this? Phase 3. Motive. The last component. The big one. Get this and they'll give her to you. Remember, don't piss them off. That never works. It's not why did she kill him. It's why did she organize the cover-up. And I suppose you have a theory on that. She could have just been covering up for herself, Titus. Like, fuck she was. It was her idea, right? The hanging? The little man squints, eyes beady. She had, like, a fully formed plan and shit, right when she came back downstairs. Really, Shanks? Clausier wanted to talk to another girl, that's all. She was just the first one up there. I could have come up with that plan if I'd been first. Time for a logics demonstration. Titus, let's assume you killed him. You're on thin ice here, asshole. He points at you. Would you prefer to go on trial with your men as part of a lynch mob, or alone for cold-blooded murder? Alone. I don't drag my men into shit with me. If she used us, then that's a serious violation of the Hardy Code, boss. But she didn't. She would never do that. The blonde man looks around. Why aren't more of you defending her? This is fucking stupid, Titus. Glenn. Titus looks grim. I thought the same thing when she skipped town and left us in this shit. Ooh, so he didn't rule her out completely. And she skipped town. This is good. Titus, you have to see it. Things don't add up. I need to talk to her. Silence. He looks around the room. The old man in the corner nods. Yeah, I see it. He puts his beer down. There's one more thing I've been wondering about. Ever since you asked me where she is. Add it to your list of suspicions if you want. I don't know. He smiles a peculiar smile. I don't know where she went. She just up and left. Got real scared, too. Wouldn't tell me where, however hard I asked. Want to know why? Why? She was afraid I would tell you. He looks you straight in the eye. Maybe she was right. By now, I probably would. You think she knew I'd find evidence against her? Perhaps. He looks out of the window again. Ask her if you find her. It won't be easy, though. She made sure of that. When did she leave? Friday afternoon, when you first arrived. I got word the RCM was in town, then she came in to see me. Told me she was leaving. That's when we had our little conversation. What was she scared of? I told you. You. Me as in the RCM? No, you, as in the cop with the sideburns and the disco clothes. She probably knew me from my singing days. Yeah, that's real funny. She wasn't laughing, though. He looks at you. You know, when I first saw you limp in here, I thought she was paranoid or sniffing her own supply, but he measures you up. Now I'm not so sure. What else did Ruby tell you about me? She said you have a funny taste in clothes. He scoffs, and that you won't stop. Won't stop? Until you have something on her. She said she's heard of you from Jamrock, that you're a human can opener, that you play suspects against each other, open them up like cans. Fucking hell. Tattooed man shakes his head. Titus, did he just open Angus up like a can? Yes, he did. He nods. Now we can whine about it, whack him, or we can go on with our lives. I'm having a go on with our lives kind of day, Al. How about you? Silence. He nods. Anything else? Anything? Yeah, there was something else. She wouldn't tell me, though. I could see she wanted to. It was burning on her lips. This cop, Titus. This cop, Pete. But she was too scared. You have any clues on where Ruby went? She's not far. We know that much. She didn't take her lorry, so she's on foot. Good fucking luck, man. She knows this place like the back of her hand. You'll never find her. Yeah, Al. Gives a sharp look, and we won't either. She's not really a... The man stares into his beer. Hardy candidate anymore, is she? She's not, Glenn. Have you looked for her? A little. On the coast. Where have you looked for her? More precisely, on the coast. Past the waterlock. He nods southwest. She's not here, so I'm thinking she's there. Can you tell me where on the coast I should start looking? Sure, there's some shithouses there. A cinder block town. The fisher folk there refuse to unionize, so that's one place we haven't looked. I hear they have a shack where junkies sometimes crash. Time for you to step up. I'll start there. One more question. What does Ruby look like? Boyish. Hair's red. Dyed. She looks like a lorryman. Do you know what she's doing with Ulan frequencies? What now? I've no idea. He looks around. Boys? She said she's building a... His voice is very quiet. A pale emitter. What? We were talking about radio equipment. She said she's doing Ulan frequencies and, pale something. I don't know more. This guy barely understands what he's talking about. There you have it. Pale something. Titus puts an end to it. It's not much, but it'll do. It'll have to. He puts his hand out. Shake it. His grip is firm and reassuring, like holding a piece of unpolished granite. Not just granite. Tightly packed RCM Sergeant material. You should be a cop, Titus. When are you going to get it through your dumb head? He scoffs. I already am. I just wasn't sure you were. And he still isn't. People aren't afraid of good cops in the way Ruby was afraid of you, he thinks, and turns back to his men. Alright. We have a prime suspect. I suspect she's in the church, but it's hard to say for sure. This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now. Bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water doesn't feel particularly clean. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks like sad duckies. You pause to think before letting your head go under. Hold it right there. Keep your head above water, you'll lose all those pheromones Morel sprayed on you. Oh, okay. Keep your head above water just in case. Lukewarm water is comforting, like amniotic fluid. You feel nice and lonely, and so tired. Take the beer cans out. Now you're alone with your thoughts in the tub, but it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub. Imagine something. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. Then, houses along a narrow street. A video rental. Darkness on the planet's curvature. Linger in the tub. Nice. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whorls as the water cools. The water line recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin. Alright. That was an easy level. Yeah, I forgot about Morel and the little phasmoids or whatever.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Okay.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you.
Just doing my job, ma'am. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. She hands you a thin ribbon held together by a silver bird skull. It's a tie, Mangg in origin. The pin is an antique, quite special. The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull, with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important. You never told me you've seen the phasmid. Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings. Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard. But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right. You were a child, my dear. Really, it's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on, tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field. That is a way bigger compliment than it sounds like. Well, it was summer, she starts. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one, many times my height, I remember, when all of a sudden... Where was this and how old were you? I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt, in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there. Betancourt got bombed in the war. Used to be quite near. CA 20 kilometers from here. CA. What happened? The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved. Swaying, towering above me. She looks at you. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left. Went into the reeds. Did you follow it? I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud, looking around me. Where did you go? Don't go. Then what? I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her that they were looking at me. She chuckles. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys, that sort of thing. She brushes her hair back. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel. We were on a date, can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed. So that's how they met. This is beyond significant for them. It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind. The way it moved, the color, how some of its limbs were white like marble. He breathes excitedly. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she's restored my faith in my profession. He looks at her with admiration, forgetting a wild smile on his face. You were on a date? Our first, yes. The old woman looks at her husband tenderly. Its limbs are white. Not all of them, he answers for her. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends. How big was it? It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. Maybe you imagined it, Lena. How could she? Who imagines this? She didn't know about the phasmid. This is the main thing here, what makes it a confirmed sighting. She had no previous knowledge of the insect, so she couldn't have made it up, or imagined it. That's true, yes. I'm almost certain neither my mother nor my grandmother knew of it. It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, Lena. She lowers her voice, imitating a boy. You trying to tell us you saw the Insulindian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here. She smiles. They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it. You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just, she sighs, such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm. And she could get up and walk right into the reeds on her own. Into the mud. Anywhere. Maybe you could convince her to tell you about some cool cryptids. Really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask. Hey, Lena, I'd like to hear about some of the cryptids you've studied. Could you just tell me about a couple of them? Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company, too. This is a lot of cryptid talk. Is this bird a cryptid? No. Her eyes narrow mysteriously. It's the cryptid. Wow, the cryptid. Oh, yes. The small silvery skull shines between your fingers, its beak sharp. Okay, what is this bird? The eight-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until... mutation. The man scoffs. All of evolution is a mutation. Until it was cited by renowned Gottwaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21. This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalog comes up completely empty, but, of course, you are not all-knowing. I need to hear about this sighting. It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Umrao Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm. And Umrao is the world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Urg Desert, an ancient riverbed completely dried up. What happened? Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Paracarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment, and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird. It seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. By the time Uwe got there, the teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times. You followed it? Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plattenkalk followed the teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall, where the bird finally ran into rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with its head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch, so he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist. Then the teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider, and the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird. Why? The bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back, but every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uwe spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away. How did he survive to tell the story? The 8-eyed teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. He'd even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind. An 8-eyed, mind-controlling bird. Fuck yes. Absolutely, sweetie. She smiles. Glad you agree. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Umrao is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets. Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one. by the end of the decade, latest. So that was the last anyone saw of it. Sadly, yes, but there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Ilmara, and there's the striking resemblance to the Paracarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol, that are hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes. Not really, it's just stylization. The way they drew eyes, it's not a zoological drawing. Very, very hard. This one's very famous, everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. She winks. And what else do you want to know? What's the biggest cryptid? That would be the giant of Kokonur, she says, of its common knowledge. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. What do you mean, odd light? A mirage, or a psychogenous luminance. She does not elaborate the nature of this luminance further. And just how big is it? No one knows for sure. It's like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. Is it dangerous? The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others a fate unimaginable. That's what makes it so peculiar, a species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes. Great. This is great shit. You need more. Gravity anomaly. Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here. What's the tiniest cryptid? Cryobacter catlensis, she answers immediately. Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Katla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago. What's so special about it? The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate, certainly from before recorded history. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. She injected herself with it? Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea. I mean, there's an immortal geologist wandering the world. Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she's been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. What's the most dangerous cryptid? The gnome of Jeroma. She pauses for effect. Gnome of Jeroma? That doesn't sound too bad. Oh, it is. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. What does this cryptic look like? It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead. An ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. She looks at you, her voice grave suddenly. It still took the gnome of Jerome an entire day to die. Are there any photos of it? Alas, no. And the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science, she says, mostly to herself. Alas. Always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient? Seems very convenient that it just disappeared and nothing like it was seen again. She nods. I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again. Are there any invisible cryptids? What an interesting question, and the answer is yes, there are. What's that? The Koldo Ma Ma Da Ko, or thin whisper of sound. And that's precisely what it seems to be. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. It's very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track. Koldomama Dakao can also be translated as a whisper, light, and low. Her eyes light up behind her glasses. Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Koldoma Dakao makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere, all the time, and we wouldn't know. But how can an animal be a sound? Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory. Could it be here, right now? It could be, she says calmly. As I said, it could be everywhere, and we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives, and nights. What evidence is there of this animal being a sound? Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 1920s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Iya mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination, were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds. Just nod eagerly. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appear to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest pitch bat calls. She transforms when speaking about these strange animals into a confident woman. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Koldoma Madako, after the Paracarnassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. Wow. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds, even though they couldn't see them. They could distinguish among individual birds, and, she smiles, even began to name some of them. Name them. Sequester, Time, Jusquin, she nods. Those are but some of the Mama Dakao they followed individually. Why is the Mama Dakao so afraid of us? The Quars. That is a sad story, she frowns. A group of university students assisting with the fieldwork and their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction. Extinction? She nods gravely. They tried to communicate with it, and had no other means but sound, so they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mama Dakaos. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear? This lady really should be a teacher. She's really good at the explaining things thing. Just they cancel each other out. Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. Great regret washes over her, a wending cloth. After that, the corpuscles appear to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Iya, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Koldoma Madakao population anywhere. This has been educational. Sadly, we need to discuss something else. This guy.
Haha, nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you?
He tries to play cool, remain professorial, but inside, this man is itching for some news on those traps. I'm looking for a suspect. Have you seen a woman with red hair who seemed to be on the run? I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest. So I checked all the traps. Good, okay, he breaks his calm. And one of them was empty. Completely empty? Cryptozoologist's eyes grow wide. Yes, there was nothing in the trap. No locusts, no phasmid. No locusts, but no phasmid either. That's not ideal, but he rubs his chin. The empty trap was the one at your campsite. Maybe this factors into it somehow? I definitely left that one stocked. Right from the campsite. The old woman's face lights up. It just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought. She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them. You're dealing with a subject near and dear to their hearts. It might behoove you to tread lightly. Yes, the Phantasmodia picked off the locust and escaped. This is good news. though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure. His companion sighs. Another trip to the reeds. Are you sure you've exhausted all the alternative explanations? Cryptozoologist's face flushes with indignation. Of course we have! Wait, Morel. The old woman raises a hand. You may have a point. We have an obligation to rule out other hypotheses. His face relaxes. You're right, dear. It's a fair point. But what other explanation could there be? He turns to you. Pardon me. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now and brought great news, too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Revachol is yours. Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened? I insulted him. Oh, shit. No. You have your suspicions, but nothing you can form into a viable explanation. Maybe the locusts ate themselves. Auto-cannibalistic locusts. I appreciate your unconventional thinking, officer, but really cryptids aren't your area of expertise. It's okay, dear. Most hypotheses turn out to be false. Shit! Alright, I'm putting a point in interfacing. I want to finish this.
Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the design of a new trap.
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno. I think a little hooligan called Kuno may have stolen the locust. Little hooligan? But what would a child want with bugs? A shadow of worry passes over the woman's face. Oh, my dear Morel, you've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks. I'll talk to the little gremlin and see if anything comes up. Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close. The man turns to his companions. Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me. He hasn't been particularly forthcoming before. He may well still be hiding something. After he's left, it's too late. Really, Gary? The woman's voice is a little shaky suddenly. We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but... Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. He looks at his tea. Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run. No need to apologize, Gary. You've been more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. We're gonna follow this through.
I really owe you one for getting us out of those reeds, officer. Finally got all that soot out of my hair. Name's Gary.
Yeah, I'm more of a city boy, too.
I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
This man respects authority too much to see you for what you are. Pretend thou art a sober man. Degenerates. I've been trained to identify the slightest hint of degeneracy by the preeminent authority on it.
Oh, I didn't mean it in any scientific way.
His gaze shifts nervously to the floor tiles. Do you know anything about the man hanged behind the whirling rags? Well, so that's what the RCM is in Martinez about. Great. He nods in sincere approval. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that. So you do know something about it. No. He shakes his head emphatically, then corrects his tie. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary, but everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it, that's all. He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here. Is this your mug? My mug? Why would you think that? I can see you recognize it. It's in your eyes. I may have had a similar looking mug in the past, that's all. Alright, I believe you. You look like the kind of man who knows it's a crime to lie to an officer. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I'm very sorry, officer. Pauses. You're not going to find me, are you? Do I really even need money? Nah, Gary, I just want information. Oof, he's visibly relieved. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my garbage ever again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koshko's price dumping us out of competition. What'd you do, Gary? Nothing. Just answering some questions, helping out the law. How'd you get into the trash container? I know a guy who works with trash collection services. CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. Why would you need to get into everyone's trash? So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff, he says, bowing shamefully like a fallen knight. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Himians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself. Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, the man who was hanged behind the Whirling in rags, into that trash container? Officer, please. He raises both hands. Let me explain. It's not like that. Dude. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know. Okay, then what happened? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash along with a broken mug. Admittedly, he changes his mind mid-sentence. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes, too. You wouldn't know anything about the victim's missing armor, would you? Armor? No. He changes his mind. I mean, yes, of course, I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it. An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. Let's move on for now. I hope I can help your investigation, and in my small way. He's visibly relieved it's over. Why is he shifting around like that? Damn. Is he? He's looking comfortable enough. Maybe it was just beads. Sounded like beads. But what kind of beads might a man like Gary be hiding beneath his clothes? Are you currently sporting some anal beads? Good one. Yeah, good one, officer. He forces a grin. You really have a courageous sense of humor. You and your fucking anal beads. So we got this pin. +1 Inland Empire, +1 Volition. That's just a straight up improvement. And it looks cool. Alright. Let's go talk to Kuno. I don't know why I care about these bugs. But I do, damn it. Was that... Could it be the Koldomama Dakao? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear. Is it? Is there a ringing? There seems to be. An extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird. Listen closely first. There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come towards you. Move your head toward the sound. Oh no, the sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No, too late. It's gone. There's no ringing anymore, just the sound of the streets. No, come back, please. Keep your ears peeled then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again. Koldoma Madakao. You heard it. The mysterious Koldoma Madakao. You're certain you did. Well, maybe not quite certain, but let's say you're hopeful, because it would make you very special to be the only human being who can hear this invisible, incorporeal bird. This animate whisper, this particle of sound. You're gonna have to keep listening. Sharpen your ear. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts.
Kuno's like Kuno's dad. Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Jesus, this fucking voice actor. You wouldn't happen to know anything about any missing locusts? No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs. So he knows locusts are bugs. Oh my god, the little one seems distraught. I told you that shit is lame. Shut up, see? Now they're gonna take you to lame prison. She sounds like she's about to cry out of disappointment at Kuno's newfound lameness. What's this about? Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up. Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present. Lame. That rings some bells. Could this be connected to Night City, aka the City of Rage? Kuno, is this about Rage City? Oh god, Kuno, no! The little one behind the fence takes her hat off. It's gonna happen now. They're gonna make you lame. Stop it, C. No one's gonna make anyone lame. Kuno's got this under control. What exactly did I solve there? Take a look around the yard. There's some mud here. There's his shack. Crawling with locusts in here. All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising, accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants. Sounds like you found the locust detective. What is this? Heaps of leaves are rotting among the mud-caked towers. Dozens of little locusts feed on them, buzzing away with vicious joy. Kuno has really outdone himself here. It's an ode to self-expression. It's the work of a self-taught visionary. I should go and ask him to stop then.
Kuno's like Kuno's dad. Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, I know. I know you took the locust from the traps the cryptozoologist set up. Yeah, he says slowly, meeting your gaze with sullen defiance. Kuno took the bug, so what? So it wasn't the phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you. You say you don't give a fuck about bugs, and you go and build a whole bug town. It's not bug town, it's a city of locusts, he says, enunciating every syllable. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends. Stop! She wails from behind the fence, then buries her face in her hands. Locust coming down like a shadow. This must be the Night City he mentioned when you asked him where he's been. So that, in there, is Night City. Yeah, Locust City. City of Rage. City of Lights. There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort. City of Rage sounds like a cool place. Kuno, that pig wants to help you, she moans. That's how lame it is. Please don't just say you're an artist. He pushes his chest out. Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist now. Didn't he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno Kuno. I hear you right. You said I. Kuno made Kuno. Kuno says whatever the fuck he wants. There are no rules here, pig. He steps closer. I fucking say I when I wanna, and Kuno when I wanna. Kuno's free. Kuno's free to fucking die, bitch. This is what he sometimes does when things get tense. That's great, Kuno. It's cool to make art. Oh my god, Kuno. He's gonna make you totally lame in like 3 seconds. Don't let him, Kuno. Yo, fuck you, C. Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. He tears at the buttons of his shirt, trying to rip them open. They don't give way. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a faggot. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Yeah, I said it. I know. Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno. You'll have to take me away. A leaden silence fills the yard. So that's what this is about. Say nothing. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He's turned completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist traps alone. I need you to stop taking locusts from the traps. The cryptozoologists are trying to find something very important. Those locusts are bait. I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. He turns toward the fence. C was right. Girl's face appears again above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Kuno. She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I. I have to ask, what does the city of locusts mean? It doesn't mean anything, it's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit, build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck. He turns his face up to the heavens. Pig, he says finally, lowering his gaze to meet yours. You really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno's city. Now it's all fucking lame. What's gonna happen to the locusts? Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. Okay, now that that's settled, I better be off. Fuck are they trying to catch anyway? He asks before you leave. With the traps. The Insulindian phasmid. Huh, he mutters to himself. He recognized the name. You know what the Insulindian phasmid is? Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit, he says angrily. Fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit. There's silence between the two children. They're not saying anything to each other, nor looking in each other's direction. Why does art inspire you so much? Does, yes, but what is art? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication. Representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Would I fit into the art world? I mean, have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic, with that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture, too. Is architecture also art? Of course not. It's autism? Autism? Did they misspell autism? Or is this a new word I'm learning? Autistim. I don't know. Box drawing, masturbation with a ruler and a sextant, or whatever they use. You should demean and criticize the genteel institution of architecture, while extolling the virtues of the pure arts. Wait, what about music? Is that art? Only the most experimental kind. I guess I have been feeling critical lately. Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Don't I have to be 100% cop to get the case finished and all that? Quit being so indecisive. What are you going for here? Some kind of indecisive and camp aesthetic now? Strike a bold shape here. Go art or go home. Okay, 50% art critic is what's needed to free me from rote repetition, so be it. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals of the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticism, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble. Brilliant. Alright, let's return to Morel. Finish this shit. Phasmid doesn't exist. They're never going to find it. But at least they can keep trying until they die.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. I know you're skeptical, but I have a good feeling about this.
I had a chat with this kid, Kuno. He promised to stop stealing the locusts. Cryptozoologist purses his lips. So it was just the child. He looks crestfallen. Thank you for telling us, sweetie. She turns to smile gently up at her husband. This is good news, right? It means we can try again. She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry. Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid or the missing locusts. It's something else. Yes, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time, and then maybe we can... The aging cryptozoologist breaks into a hideous coughing fit. She looks at him with tender concern. Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home. You're right, you're right. He breathes carefully not to start coughing again. We can come back next season when it's warmer. That's just something people tell themselves when they fail. We've come too far to quit. I'm gonna restock the trap. Let's do this. Really, it's too much, officer. He starts coughing again. What morale means is we're grateful for your help. She nods to her husband. Here's a fresh... Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel, and thank you again. We will definitely mention you should this lead us to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but... Wow, co-discovery. You'd be famous. You'd show them all. This does tingle the pleasure center. Alright, we'll get to that next time, I guess. Not quite ready for day 4, I suppose. I mean, by this point in the Let's Play, I think you know how this is going. This is Disco Elysium. My name is Mangg. Game you're watching has been Disco Elysium. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.